You know how we spend so much time counting calories and tracking our steps? It's kind of a big deal. But what about that invisible weight we carry around? The one in our minds? In this explainer, we're going to treat our ego like a weight we can actually lose. Yeah, you heard me. And I'm going to show you exactly how.
This quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. You know that feeling of being emotionally heavy? Like you're burdened by this constant need to be right, to be praised, or to look perfect. Well, that's what we're talking about. That's your ego's expanding silhouette, and it's the core idea for our entire journey today.
Okay, so let's really dig into this metaphor. On the left, you've got the usual suspects for physical health, right? Calories, carbs, crunches, we track this stuff meticulously. But now, look at the right. How often do we actually stop and weigh our reaction to criticism, or our craving for credit, or that deep-seated desire for control? This, my friends, is our emotional fitness, and honestly, most of us are ignoring it completely.
And that's the thing, isn't it? We look in the mirror and we're totally focused on our physical reflection, but we almost never stop to consider the reflection we cast onto other people. That bloated self-importance, that's the invisible weight we're talking about. And man, it can drag down our happiness and our relationships without us even knowing it.
So how do we even start to measure something like this? Well, think about it. We have a body mass index, a BMI, for our physical health. So why not an ego BMI for our emotional health? Let's check out a little framework that can help us see where we might fall on the spectrum.
All right, let's take a look at this chart. On one end, you've got the undergo. That's the doormat ego, always apologizing, kind of afraid to take up space. Then, way on the other side, you've got the overego. This is the person who is addicted to being right, probably because of a deep insecurity. And right in the middle, you have the balanced normal ego and the slightly puffy overego. Just take a second and be honest with yourself. Where do you see yourself most often?
And that leads us perfectly into a little self-reflection exercise. Now, this is a total no-judgment zone, okay? This is all about awareness. It's about taking a brave, honest look in the mirror. Not at our face, but at our own thought patterns and reactions.
So let's think. Someone gave you a suggestion, maybe at work, maybe a friend, and your gut reaction was to get defensive, or maybe you just felt a little hurt. Can you remember when that was?
Or how about this one? We've all been there. You did something nice for someone, but there was that little voice in your head, or maybe even out loud, that just had to say, "Hey, don't forget I did that for you."
And, okay, this last one. This one's a bit tricky. Can you think of a moment where you felt just a tiny bit superior because you knew more about something or your values were different? Just recognizing these moments, that is the first and most important step to shedding that weight.
Now let's talk about where this ego weight even comes from, because it doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's constantly being fed by our environment, all the cultural messages we soak up, and yeah, all that social media we're scrolling through.
Oh man, social media. It's like a 24/7 gym for ego inflation, isn't it? Every single like is a little dose of validation. We use filters to hide our blemishes, and also reality. We post these highlight reels that are basically ego steroids, and before we know it, we can start to confuse that perfectly curated online person with who we actually are.
And it's not just social media. Look at some of these common messages we hear all the time. They sound so positive, right? You deserve the best, or be the main character. But if you look closer, you can see the hidden side effect. They can make us feel entitled, and they can turn our lives into a performance for some invisible audience.
Okay, so here's the good news. If we can see the problem and we know what feeds it, we can absolutely create a plan to fix it. This isn't about destroying your ego, by the way. It's about managing it, making it healthier, lighter, and way more flexible.
And this is where it gets really powerful. Check out how a simple mental shift can change everything. Instead of thinking, I have to impress these people, just reframe it to, I want to connect with them. See the difference? Instead of stewing over, they didn't appreciate me, you switch to, I did it because it was the right thing to do. That simple little flip instantly lightens the emotional load.
And if you want something super concrete you can do every single day, here it is, a 3-minute workout routine for your mind. Step 1, a 1-minute warm-up, just detaching your sense of self from all that stuff. Step 2, a 2-minute core burn, where you actively choose to let your ego go in one small situation. And finally, a 1-minute cool down to reflect. Think of it as a daily push-up for your humility muscle.
Now, just like with any healthy lifestyle, you've got to know what to avoid. Let's talk about ego junk food. These are those little habits that give you a quick high, a quick hit of validation, but they leave you feeling emotionally bloated later. We're talking about gossiping, constantly comparing yourself to others online, or replaying an old fight in your head just so you can be right again.
And of course, the antidote to junk food is soul food. These are the good habits, the nutrient-dense actions that naturally deflate the ego over time. And notice how many of them are about shifting the focus away from yourself and onto other people. Really listening, celebrating their wins, or helping someone out without needing any of the credit.
So after all this work, what's the actual payoff? What do you get? It's a feeling that no diet or physical detox can ever give you. It's this grounded, calm, incredible sense of lightness that comes when you finally release that exhausting need to prove yourself all the time.
I love this quote. It's so simple, but it is everything. When you're not so busy defending your own little territory of I'm right and I'm important, you suddenly have all this new mental and emotional space. Space for curiosity, for connection, for real empathy. Your world literally gets bigger.
And that right there is the real transformation. It's a huge shift from focusing on the external to focusing on the internal. In a world that is addicted to shiny images, you become real substance. In a culture that demands that you be impressive, you choose the deeper, more meaningful path of simply being present.
So I'm going to leave you with one final question to think about. After everything we've talked about today, the need for credit, the defensiveness, the constant comparing, what is one small invisible weight you are going to choose to set down starting right now?